Okay, we should be live. Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone. I'm CJW from the COG Forums. I'm here with Fiagan and Lord Irish.
Hello.
And Lord Irish, you're here. Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, that's better. Sorry
Okay.
about that, guys.
Yep.
That's all right.
Okay. Where do we start? Introductions?
Yeah, carry on.
Okay, so I go by CJW. I'm going to be going by Terry on this stream, which is my first name. We have Mouse, Fiagan, and David, Lord Irish.
Yep.
Yeah, and I go by Julian Ashwood as my pen name, and I have a few works in progress on the forums, and I've been using CSIDE for I think nearly 2 years now in beta.
I've been using it since he started beta testing, so I love the program.
It's probably getting on for about 3 years now.
So, yeah, something like that. But it's been a worthwhile travel.
Yeah, I can't believe we're actually like here now. This is surreal.
It is awesome. I've been excited for you to launch this forever.
Thank you. Okay, so for starters, do you actually want to? Do you want me to take over here, Julian? Mouse?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, go ahead.
Shall I just narrate and you kind of?
If you talk, I can click on things. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. So I thought for starters, we'd just give everyone a general overview of the application. So well, yes. What is the ChoiceScript IDE? In a nutshell, it's just an application that allows you to write ChoiceScript games as easily and pain-free as possible. It takes out a lot of the hassle of downloading the source code, setting up your environment, unzipping, whatever have you. So should we start with a general overview? You can see CSIDE here. We have a code editor on the left. Yep, well demonstrated. On the very far left, we have our scene list and a project. So our project is called Spy Miscellany. Is that how you pronounce that?
However you like, yeah.
And yep. Okay, just for demonstration purposes, can we open a second project just so people can see what it looks like?
Actually, open one or start a new one?
Oh, let's start a new one. That'd be great. Yeah,
Okay.
okay. So just to prove how simple it is, so you open the application, you type in the name of your project. Oh, literally. Okay, and there it is. You've even got some startup. You can actually run that now if you click the play button. There we go. Side by side, you have your startup code and your game is running all in one application in a matter of 4 or 5 seconds. and
Yes,
that
it is.
hopefully that'll that'll benefit most people. I mean, that's pretty simple. It's nice. You download the application. It's got ChoiceScript built into it. You load it up. You type your code. You run it side by side. No problem. There's a lot more to the application, as we'll find out very soon. But that is at the core of it. That's the primary reason we started this, for ease and simplicity of getting started with ChoiceScript, taking the hassle out of setting up your environment for the average user. Does anyone want to add anything there before I move on?
When I first heard, sorry, go ahead, Irish.
No, go ahead.
When I first heard the words integrated development environment, I had no idea what that even meant. I had no background in programming. I didn't really like a program to make a program. It didn't mean anything. So when I thought of it originally, it was like having a code editor with sort of a house built around it. So that all the things that I'd normally have to do one by one, like make files in some sort of program and put them in a folder and download ChoiceScript. And I'd already gone through that once because I found CSIDE a little while after I began my first game. And it was just so exciting to not feel lost anymore. Like everything that I needed was right here. And if I kept pushing buttons, I would eventually find it. So that's what integrated development environment means to me as a non-programming writer.
Yeah. Sorry, if at any point I get too technical, Fiagon or Mouse will wrap me back in.
I will too.
Yes, of course. Okay, let's demonstrate. Okay, so if we want to add a new scene to our name of project, how easy is that?
Just click the plus button. Woo. And then I can rename it. Simple as that. Then I have a new scene that I can start typing in. If I added it to scene list, and then ran the program, I'd have the first scene and the second scene. Magic.
And of course, all your go-to scene or sub-scene works just as easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could actually access it like this. Okay, and it's running as a subscene now.
Great. Okay, so seeing as spy word I can't pronounce is for later.
Yes, that's that's actually my case notes for the actual game, which I will start.
Anyway, let's collapse that project. But we don't want to close it because we want to be able to access it later. So we'll just collapse it. That's nice and hidden away there. Okay, what should we demonstrate next? Okay, so in our new scene, let's create a problem. Instead of our return, let's just add a 2 to the end of that.
Add a big button.
Anything.
To spell it, make a return too.
There.
Yeah, that works.
And let's try and run our project.
It crashed. No. So then I can click show, right? Come back, show. When you do that and it vanishes, you can go up here to this little danger triangle button. You can see the problem. Line 2 of new scene, a non-existent command returned, right? It will then give you the date and time. Another thing I love about CSIDE is that when you do make a mistake, you often know immediately because, as you see, since I've got code, it's red. It's got what, syntax highlighter, is that the nice technical term for it?
Yeah.
And once I make a mistake, the syntax highlighter goes away. But anyway, so we've now fixed the mistake, or so we hope, and we can dismiss the issue and save it and run it again. And now it's not broken anymore. It's always a nice feeling.
Yeah, which saves, for a non-coder like me, it saves a lot of work.
Yeah. So enclosing scenes or deleting scenes is just as easy. You've got a right-click menu and you can convert spaces and tabs, which has always terrified me. And then I had a reason to try it once with something I was editing and I was very happy with the results. There's a word count. Such a long and complicated scene. We can reload it, which I'm guessing that's in case we've made changes to it in another program, yeah?
Yes.
We can delete it, we can export it, we can either print it out on a printer, or we can copy it to a folder, or we can delete it. Now, if I close it, it's not deleted, it's just closed. If I decide I didn't actually want to do that, I want my second scene back, I can right-click up on the project name and open all scenes, and it reappears.
We might actually struggle getting all the features in. Okay, so what else do we have? Just let's a quick bullet list here. We have an inbuilt dictionary. So there's a spell checker, of course. And yep, very, very nice dictionary there. Mine's got about one word in it.
So if I spell things wrong, like accelerate, horribly mangled, it automatically underlines it. And then if I say, no, actually, this is a notable ancient Greek name and I wish to add it to my user dictionary, I can easily right-click on it and it will tell me how I actually spell accelerate, or I can ignore it, or I can say, no, I actually meant to do that. And then it will appear in my user dictionary. You can also add words manually. And then, yes, this massive user dictionary is 2.5 projects worth of slang and other languages and other such things. Conveniently, when I'm done with a project, I can come in and just click on all the words that I don't want to be in the dictionary anymore. And then if I want to add them back in, easy. It's actually really nice, easy to use. Use your dictionary, and in settings, you can convert, you can either use US or Great British English, which I edit in both languages. So it's very helpful, both dialects, something. So it's very helpful to have both available.
While you're on the settings screen, what else do we have on the settings screen?
Oh, the settings screen, my favorite. Smart indentation. Smart indentation gives you...
It's really cool.
Yes, it is really cool. I didn't realize how cool it was until I had to do a bit of coding in a proper text editor that wasn't the CSIDE amazingness, and had to actually hit the space bar myself. It was very odd.
I was just sat there for 5 minutes once, like backspacing and entering, just like, why aren't you indenting?
Exactly. So I usually use 2 spaces, which I'm going to set here from the settings. But you can set how large you want your tabs or spaces. So when I have choice, I hit enter, I type in my choice, I type text. You notice it automatically indents for me there as well. And then I type my go-to, and then it'll bring me to the next choice automatically.
So at no point have you ever had to indent or dedent manually there?
No, I haven't. When I'm done with the choices, I will go back to here, but yes, and then I just need to make my label. But it saves loads of time, especially with complex if statement chains. that would have all been indented automatically if I typed the if first. So then we have line wrapping. With line wrapping, if I take it off, all my words are gone, and then I have to scroll. And especially as someone who came out of years and years and years of word processors, because I'm in that wonderful age where I was born after computers and long enough ago so that I actually type lots of words, then it was very mystifying the first time I used a code editor, and it was like, why have my words gone? So the line wrapper just puts all your paragraphs where you can see them properly. Auto suggest, which I never have actually used because I'm strange that way, but when you type things, it will automatically complete them for you. Is it strictly with codes? Autocomplete.
No, it'll pick any word that's local. So if you type SH, it should come up with shiny. Quite possibly. Or not. Maybe that was because you did a higher case. Yeah. But no, it shouldn't just be code. It should be any sort of local word.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I think after you typed it once, then it'll auto suggest it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a complex algorithm that's way beyond me.
Okay, so yeah,
I've used that a lot in the past, and usually once you've written something, and you go to type the first couple of words, it offers it again.
Yeah, I see. Because yeah, I can get things that I've already typed. Although it is apparently case sensitive.
If you're using a lot of the same, like line break or the same word over and over, it really does make it a lot quicker.
Yes, and while we're talking about the same word over and over, I'm going to demonstrate one feature that I really love. I'm holding down Command because I'm on a Mac. If I was on a Windows, I'd be holding down Control, I believe. And you see the cursor on line 6. I'm going to click while holding down Command. Now I have a whole little stream of cursors, carets, and I can type if the water's fine. Then I can put options here and then go to all done. And then poof. And all I have to do is actually fill in the text.
Very useful if you want to create arrays with your underscores and your ones and your twos at the end.
And then you can just put in most of the information and automatically type loads. Yeah, I've been using it for else if chains because it just is so much similar words that it's much quicker.
I'll set something like that up and then use the find replace feature quite often.
Okay. Visible tabs. If I was using tabs and not, if I were using tabs in all spaces, this will automatically show you tabs. Word count. So if I turn this on, the word count appears at the bottom of the screen. I think that's actually on by default. I set most of the settings back to default for this, but I think I forgot about that one. You can include command lines. We can exclude command lines.
So if you've got a very code-heavy narrative and you want to know literally just how much text is in the game, you can turn that on. It should give you a fairly accurate reading.
Yes, it doesn't. Why am I not?
I think it does include option text. It's just star commands that it will ignore.
Okay.
So your ifs and your sets and your creates.
And it seems like you have to type for it to reset. Like that's why I was confused because when I changed it from off, it still said 0 down here, but it doesn't actually change until you type.
Yeah, that's just it just doesn't recalculate in real time, just to save some, keep it efficient.
Yeah. There's the spaces, tab indent, block size, font size. So in the editor window, if I want large font or tiny,
people that are blind like me.
or tiny font for people that have loads of long things and are, like to squint. Editor theme, there's dichromatic. Lord Irish, do you want to talk about dichromatic?
Yeah, well, when CJW started first working on this, you know, he had the light and then he added the dark, but I'm colorblind and I was having a hard time seeing errors and everything was blending together. So he was so kind, and I mean really kind, to add this feature so people colorblind like me have a lot easier time seeing the text and errors and the command lines and all that. So it's a really, if you have any problem with colors, really useful feature.
Yeah, so there's the dichromatic one, there's a light one, which I mostly use, like right now I'm in a really sunny room because it's in the middle of the afternoon for me. So there's that one, and then there's also a dark one, which is nice and easy on the eyes, especially like in an office. And then the app settings, autosave, highly recommended. Persistent session is one of my, sorry, do you want to talk more about autosave?
No, go ahead. Yes, I was agreeing with you because I've screwed up many times without that autosave. I would have been in the toilet.
Yeah, exactly. Or I'll wander off to do something and because I've got interrupted, and autosave makes sure that nothing crashes, nothing fails. Persistent session, I love. Because right now this doesn't look too complex, but if I were to open one of my active projects and I have 20 scenes going down the row and all sorts of everything everywhere, and I'm on a different space in every scene, and I've forgotten where I was because I've wandered off and done something else. If I close this like so, and then I will open it back up and share it back with you again. Oh, you'll have to switch it back, I think, Carrie. There we go. So see, I've closed it and everything is up the way I left it. All my scenes exactly as I left them. This project was hidden before, so it was still, or not hidden, collapsed before, so it's still collapsed. This one was open, so it's still open. Everything is exactly the way I left it, which is really helpful. And then command help, if you turn this on, then you see this. If I double click on it, there we go. Oh, it'll open up a browser window, which you can't see, but I can, that brings me to the appropriate place on the wiki to tell me what that command does. Very useful, especially when you're just starting and there's an awful lot of commands to learn at the very first if you're not used to that. And then there's the project folder. I'm not using the default currently. The default would be my username, and then Carrie, what's the name of the default folder?
ChoiceScript projects.
ChoiceScript projects, yeah. So I've reset it, but you can either use the default or select one manually, and I've selected this one. I currently have the update channel on none, but there's a stable for the full release, and then latest for beta. And then there's color schemes. That was very exciting. I remember the day that Carrie told us all that there was a surprise for us. We all opened up CSIDE and looked around frantically, and then I found this. And there's sort of a pinky color.
Day in the life of a beta tester.
And green, which is my favorite color, and bluish gray and grayish gray, and more blue and more blue. So, and I usually keep it in green. I just put it on the default for the demonstration, but I like green. So there it is, green. So yeah, those are the settings for the editor and for the application.
And then he also had the feature over on the left for you can color code your scenes, and he added the feature for a colorblind person too to be able to mark better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so if I wanted to recolor my new scene, I could change it to purple. And
which is really useful when you have a massive project.
yes, I've really liked using, if I have code snippets, I'll use a different color for those, or because I'm a silly person, I've grouped my chapters into sections, and then I've just done them in the order of the rainbow so that I know, like, okay, these are the wet runs, they go early. These are the other ones, they go next. It's actually really helpful.
It is.
And they're super easy to change as well, which is nice.
The other feature I really, really like that he has built into this is the compiler.
Do you mean auto-run, or the ability to actually compile automatically?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, if you right-click on here, you can export. You can either export all the scenes to folder, or you can export a compiled game, which is very useful if you're wanting to upload it and let people play it. Yeah.
We've got the tests there. So you can also test with auto test and random test from straight within the IDE to demonstrate that.
Yeah, there's quick test. It passed. It's not broken. Now I'm going to break something. Always fun when I'm doing it on purpose. It's a nice feeling to not be doing it by accident for once. I'll run random test. I'll just run 50 iterations.
It doesn't show the pop-up window here, but there's a pop-up window with the test showing.
Yes, that's right. I'm sorry. I'm forgetting you can't see everything. So when I click that, I'm seeing a window that says random test on the top. And it says iteration C, just like if you'd opened it in a browser, but it's included with CSIDE, which is amazing. And you have all the choices. You can avoid used options, show choices selected during the game.
You don't actually think that's appearing on the stream. You might have to.
Yeah. Let me see if I can actually.
I don't see it, but.
No, I knew it wouldn't, but let me see if I can actually. There it is. All right, now you should be able to see it. So yeah, there's the random test window. And
just pops in a separate screen.
Yeah, so I'm only sharing the one screen, not my entire desktop, so that's why. And then I click start random test. Oh, it broke. And it tells me where it broke. So I'm gonna go fix it and then run random test again. I'm not sure if it'll bring the same, if it'll stay up for you. Is it still, no, it dropped it. Anyway, but yeah, both of the testers, I can show you the quick test window as well. All right. There's the quick test window. Carrie, if you don't mind.
Sorry. Yep.
There we go. So yeah, and this can get quite long when there's a long project, and you can just, scroll to the end. It'll tell you, just like quick test in a browser, it works the same, but it's automatic, which is great. And you don't even actually have to use the menu. You can just use a shortcut, which on Mac is Control-T for quick test, and then Control-Shift-T for random test, which I love. I've taken to debugging every day because I have this available, and I've saved incredible amounts of time just being able to, like, I don't have to open a browser. It's really fast and easy, and so I've started checking much more frequently, and it's become much easier to squash bugs that way, especially with complex code. Carrie, do you want to bring the CSIDE window back?
Sorry. Okay. Okay. Where are we? What have we not discussed yet?
Well, I think that's a pretty good overview. I mean, you could go on for quite a while getting into each little feature that you've done. I mean, you really have done an amazing job with this. And to be honest, I went back to Note++ for a while because I was having a problem with internet access, and it killed me. I won't ever write without CSIDE ever again.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I just text editors seem really horrible and bland and not very helpful anymore. So.
Okay, so we've got an example project tab. That's worth a quick mention.
All right.
There's only one in there at the moment. It's the bulb on the end.
Okay, thank you.
Which is just an interactive side tutorial by our very own Vendetta. What this tab is going to allow you to do is it gives you a template, or in this case, a tutorial you can import into the side. The benefit being, if you want to play around with these, you can mess them up, and if you mess them up, you can then re-import them. So if you're new to it and you don't need to keep downloading fresh files, you can just literally re-import it. So if we just clone that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually a very, very good tutorial. Vendetta spent a lot of time on this. It's very comprehensive. So if you're either new to CSIDE, ChoiceScript, or both, this will walk you through the basics in a fashion that kind of suits the kind of looking code at the same time ethos. And we're planning to get a few more projects in that example projects folder for you as well. I think it's time for our favorite feature. Do you think?
Sure. All right, so you want me to go ahead and jump right in then? Okay, so is there anything else? Do we need to cover anything else before we start into the actual demo?
I think we've done a good job there. I guess I'll open the floor. Does anyone in the chat viewing have any questions that we've not answered yet, or want us to expand on anything, or have any suggestions?
I will say, it helped for me that I came into CSIDE when it was, I'm not going to say fairly new. I came in after the first year of 3 that it's been in development, and there weren't as many features then. I don't know that I might have gotten overwhelmed if I came in and saw like this many buttons and I just got into ChoiceScript. But the really wonderful thing about it is if I wanted to make a simple game, which I'm shortly to do, and of course I always tell myself I want to make a simple game and it gets much more complex. But you know, this plus button here, create a new project. We then have the first 2 necessary scenes. Once you've downloaded CSIDE, there's nothing else to download. You don't have to go picking through folders. And that wasn't so bad for me personally because I'd done enough messing about doing other things on computers that it wasn't intimidating. But I think especially for people who don't use computers every day for work and that kind of thing, it can be very strange to be like, okay, what file am I looking for and what programs do I need and where do I stick this? And there's none of that. You can start typing like we demonstrated earlier immediately. And then once you hit run, it's all there. And you can slowly explore and say, okay, I made a mistake. Now I can find it. You know, this will help me. This will log everything so that if there's multiple mistakes, I can keep track until I've made sure that I've solved them all. I can dismiss them manually. And then once you're more comfortable with CSIDE, you can go into the settings and say like, okay, I've decided that I want 8 spaces or 6 spaces. I've decided that, you know, that I do or don't like this or that feature. Like personally, auto suggest I don't use because I find it distracting, but Lord Irish finds it very helpful. I love line wrapping. I know people who don't use it. I don't know why, but you know, but you can figure out what works for you as you go along. And several of us, I mean, especially Carrie, but several of us on the CSIDE team have spent quite a lot of time with, and Vendetta as well, getting together help topics that are detailed. They'll have, a summary, but then also my favorite line, do I need to be a programmer? No. But it's very, very straightforward, and you can learn at your own pace. Like you could use this for a year and never have clicked on some of these buttons, and that's okay. Or you can be the type of person who wants to know every feature that ever existed, which are all helpfully listed here under help and information for you. And that's great too. I am still discovering shortcuts. I've looked through them, but I didn't even know that I could use the tab key to automatically put in my 2 spaces until a few weeks ago when someone happened to mention it in passing. So, I mean, CSIDE really has so many wonderful features, and it's okay to discover them slowly or quickly, whatever speed works for you.
Yeah, I agree. It's an easy program to step into, get right to work, and then you can learn the features as you go. You don't have to know all the features. The only thing I would like to mention that we haven't covered is how easy it is to organize your files, because I get big projects and I have to move files around quite a bit.
Do you want me to open a
So
big
you get
project for you to demonstrate?
Yeah, that'd probably be a great idea. So you get a long list of scenes, and you might be bouncing between 2 and 3 of them, and they might be far apart. You can slide them next to each other real easily and then bounce between the pages, which she'll show here in a second for you.
So this game that I'm opening right now, you can see all my horrible mess in public for all to see. This is actually the game that I wrote. I wrote the first 120,000 words of it in the month of May for the 4th annual ChoiceScript competition. And it won, and I was shocked. And
You shouldn't have. It was awesome.
and Lord Irish hosts the competition. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without CSIDE, because I would have just been a disastrous muddle. I mean, that's my office, papers everywhere. So CSIDE keeps my computer from looking like my office. So I'm going to open all the scenes. And as you can see, there's loads of scenes on here. Some of them are just technical stuff. This is what I use for my save slot. And I actually, because the save mod isn't in CSIDE, it's an adjustment to ChoiceScript. When I'm not using it, I just highlight it, and then there's this wonderful feature called toggle block comment, and I click on that and everything disappears. It's all commented out. And the same thing for in startup, where I have all the options related to saving. All I have to do is highlight them and toggle block comment. Poof, gone. Right? And like Lord Irish was saying, I'm about halfway through this project, 3/4, don't hold me to that. But all of these scenes are, I have all of these, and I actually have a second project with notes and half-finished scenes and all kinds of things. And so they are normally all color-coded.
Multi-line comments. Someone was asking if we can do multi-line comments. I think we can demo that quickly.
Multi-line comments as in like this?
Yeah, is that what we just did? Did you just
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so if I wanted to uncomment this, I would select it all. And you'll even notice that it follows my indentation. I love that. It doesn't screw up your indentation at all. You can just toggle block comment the way they all go, right? And then when I want to put it back in, I just go back, right click, toggle block comment, poof, gone. And rearranging your scenes, by the way, the scene list is persistent as long as you don't close the project. You can just hide it, right, if you're not using it. And it's really easy to just move scenes around. I do number them, as you see, because I still lose stuff even with CSIDE. But even when I was in the process of renumbering them at one point, because I added like 4 chapters before the beginning. It just made it really easy. I usually put startup and stats at the top, and then turn them gray because I like to pretend like they're not there. And then, yeah, the other thing you can do that I love is if I don't want to be looking at this horrible mess, which is something I did about halfway through ChoiceScript comp, like I don't want to know that I've already written 60,000 words in 15 days. So you can close out the scenes that you're not currently using, and then the scene list gets a lot more manageable. And then if you find that you need it again, you can open all scenes, or is there a way to just open an individual scene?
For a project?
For this top project that I've been messing with, Beastie Watch. If I wanted to open, would I do it through the scenes and projects folder up here?
Yes, so it's in essence, it's as simple as a text editor. So you just go to open scenes.
Okay.
If you want a quick way to do it, right click Beastie Watch header.
But I can only open all scenes from there, right?
Folder in Finder.
Oh, okay. And then
you might struggle because you're on a Mac and you full screened it, but you can actually drag and drop the scene file from that folder onto the panel, and it should open.
I'm not full screen actually, so it should be all right. Let me figure out which ones I've closed. Hang on. All right. Poof. Yep, there it comes back in. So yeah, that's really easy. All I did was open the Finder window, which I know you all couldn't see, and then just dragged the file straight into the scene list, and it opened automatically. Renaming files is also easy to do. These originally all had 2 digits, and then I started adding chapters in between. So when I was doing that, all you have to do is just click. And if you try to use characters that you can't actually, it'll tell you, knock it off. And then when you're set to go, you just hit enter and your scene is renamed. Simple.
You don't have to worry about changing your startup or your ChoiceScript because it won't let you.
Yeah, if you try to, it just tells you reserved scene cannot be renamed. That's another thing I like about this. It'll tell you to knock it off when you try to do something that's not helpful. Did we have any other questions or?
Not on my end.
Yeah, so you can't delete ChoiceScript stats or startup either. They are created by default. So the only way you could ever make a project without them is to just open your own files manually.
Which is what I've done down here, which is why this one does not have.
Yes, yeah, so if you try and play that, it should throw an error.
So I hit show the issue,
yeah,
and it says that it can't load at startup because it doesn't exist, which is correct. All right, is there anything else, or shall I jump in with both feet here?
There's stepping and the console. I don't know how best you want to show those.
Actually, what I'll do with that is I will open, I'll open a project.
Which I've just started recently using that, and I'm in love with that feature because I'm a dummy when it comes to coding.
Yeah, I mean, I was originally very intimidated by the console. I will admit, because I didn't like console to me didn't really have any meaning, and I wasn't sure what it was or how to use it or anything else. And then I started playing with it, and I have fallen in love. So here we have. So what I've done is there's normally a little icon on here. I'm not actually sure why I can't see it right now, but if you click on the little icon, which is normally there.
It just gives your screen a shake. It's patched in the latest version.
Okay.
Nice, and it'll appear.
Yeah. the console allows you to type in, well, actually, Carrie, you can explain it better than I can, and then I can demonstrate it as that.
Okay. The console is it basically gives you a code interface to the ChoiceScript. I'll use technical words like runtime. The game that's currently running can be manipulated through normal ChoiceScript commands via the console. Is that layman enough?
Yeah, basically you can, it's
Maybe an
like,
example.
Yeah, it's almost like being able to cheat in a way. So here we have, let me just move these sort of back in order so I don't confuse myself. All right, so here I have the prologue of my game, okay? And I've looked at this prologue many times. And, you know, I'll tell you, like for my alpha testers, the ones who have this, I'm happy to give them my scene files and let them use CSIDE to, one of my alpha testers happens to be on the beta list, but to use CSIDE to actually jump to the passage in question instead of, you know, every time you beta test something, you have to go from the beginning. Every time you check a passage of text, you have to go from the beginning, or you have to put in code so that you can jump around, and it's complex and it's messy. And it takes ages. So with this, here I am in the prologue, but that's not what I'm working on right now because I wrote this 2 months into working on the story. I'm currently working on this scene, which is chapter 8. Okay, so if I wanted to jump to chapter 8, I could simply put here, go to scene, and then type the scene, O2-O2-stork, and bang, I'm in chapter 8. Now, if I go to my stats screen, the date is all right because it's set in this chapter, but I don't have a name because in this game you name yourself in chapter 5. And this is chapter 8. So I can then go to the console and type set name, and I can put in a name, right? Oop,
Was that intentional or?
So as you can see, when you do something wrong, yeah, go ahead.
So it really does. The console plugs straight into ChoiceScript, so it just gives you an interface to run CS commands on your game outside of the normal flow. It actually supports any CS expression, so if you just do a mathematical one or a string concatenation or something.
So you can see here, I've got brash and cautious. So I'm going to decide that I have a very brash adventurer. And so I'm going to set brash % plus 50. And there we go, brash is at 75. Or if I want to really cheat, I can just put set brash 99. There you go, right? And it's really wonderful because then when you're testing certain passages, if I want to jump to chapter 8 and decide like, okay, I have a very spontaneous, very brash, very blunt
and say we wanted to, we're going to write an if condition, so we want to quickly check if an expression works. We can put that directly into the console. So
yes.
I mean, just for demonstration purposes, just put if true and false or something simple, or just do a numerical expression. Okay. You don't need the if, sorry, just the expression itself.
Okay, so what should I type then? This is beyond
okay, so if prepared and devious, or prepared plus devious is greater than 5.
Okay, so I don't need the if, you said?
No, don't need the if.
So prepare plus devious is greater than 5, and then I just hit enter.
Yeah, you'll need the brackets around the first 2 expressions.
CSIDE is our pal. CSIDE works with us. That's really helpful. And as you can see, I'm still learning to use the console. I do use it quite a bit, but
I'm learning a bunch right now. I've only used the step
Yeah, so it's telling us that this, if we got to this point in the game and we needed prepared plus devious to be greater than 5, that would in fact not be the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the only thing with the console is you do have to be careful. It allows you to do things that a player wouldn't usually be capable of. So you could set a variable really high. You could go to a scene before you've actually got the variables set to values that that scene can handle. And if you use it without a bit of caution, you can obviously make yourself think you've got errors you don't. So as powerful as this is, it does have to be used with caution, and that's just the double-edged sword that it is.
Yeah, and another caveat to that would be as well, when you're testing your game, like on this page, I've got grumpy and sneaky up to 75. Those are hidden stats. Right now, if I wanted to see what they are, I can just type the stat, right, and it'll give me the value of it. So grumpy is 50. I could set grumpy 75 and then check, and I would be grumpier. But just because I can put grumpy, actually in this case, just because I can set grumpy to 80 and then I would see this text up here, which I think I'd have to go to the scene. Oh, look, it did it for me. Yeah, so I'm seeing the grumpy text now. How does this affect me? Just because I can set grumpy to 80 in the console does not mean that I can get my character to 80 from this point. So that's just something to be careful of, that whatever you're testing is also accessible through the regular play of the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, tracking.
Okay. You have to walk me through it and I'll type things.
Okay. So actually, the console didn't start off as it is, as we just demonstrated. The initial idea for the console was to track variable value changing. We thought that'd be a very useful feature, so you can actually see where and when variable values were changed during your game running. So by default, the console doesn't track any variables. So if you type star track underscore all for us.
Okay.
Okay, that's now tracking all variables. So if we run the game a bit to just play through, can you see how it's logged?
Yeah, so stats.mm is just my mm stat, which went up by 10. And it tells you that last bit is the line number, right?
Yeah.
So it'll tell you, if I look at my code, I'll see like, oh yes, when I pick that, these variables change, and this will tell you what they actually changed to, which is especially nice because you're also, I tend to use fair math, which is, a quick mental calculation, but when I'm doing loads of stats, it's really helpful to see what is actually going on. There, a bunch more stats changed, time of day changed. Should we demonstrate step through while we're at it?
Yeah, just I think so. That's track all. If you've got a lot of variable changes, that can obviously get quite verbose. So if you can just do untrack all for us.
Okay, so just untrack all like that.
Yep. You can actually individually track your own choice of variables. So if you type track and then space variables, so any amount of variables with spaces between them. So just let's do 2 that will change.
Yeah, I'm just looking for which ones change right here.
Yeah, you can put them all in the same command, just separate them by spaces.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you do track list command, it will tell you what's currently being tracked.
With an underscore or
Yeah.
a space?
Underscore. And that actually takes an optional parameter. So if you're tracking a lot of things and you want to see the value, it prints the values as well. So if you want to see the values of, let's say, you give me a hard choice here. E. Okay, let's try track list E.
track list, which?
E.
E.
The letter E. Just put the letter E and go. So it's only brought back the variables of E in it. So that could be really useful. Say you only wanted to see changes to your stats that you're tracking or your temps that you're tracking. That could be quite useful. Or if you've got player stats, for example.
Interesting. So like, for instance, I would only return variables with double E, and oh, that's really helpful. So then if you say if I had coded all of my action stats with like action and then the name of the, sword, action, dagger, da 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 da, and then I just searched for action, it would bring up a list of everything that had the word action in it. That's a really neat feature. I did not know about that. How exciting.
Yeah, I'm hardly wait till we're done here. I want to play with some of these new features.
Is there anything else you wanted to show us about the console, Carrie?
I think that's the majority of it.
Oh, go ahead.
You can use order tracking variables and also another one called console log you can use in your game. That might be worth showing briefly.
Okay.
So if you don't want to kind of go through the tracking way, you could at any point in your game you can type *console_log and put an expression in there, and that will actually get logged to the console. It's an easier way of a more tidy way of doing print debugging, basically. So instead of printing out a variable at a certain point, you could actually print it to the console and keep your game clean.
Okay. You were breaking up a bit there, but can you walk me through how to do that with this first scene? Like what I would need to do?
Yeah. Okay. So pick a choice, an option, and then under it, so after set brash, set 10 maybe.
Okay. Yeah. So what would I need to type into where to make this happen?
So the command is console log with an underscore.
Okay. And I'd put that like what, up here or
wherever you want it to log.
the console log.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can put any expression in there, whether it's string, variable, or
Okay.
whatever you like.
So I can track bash and not track card skill or location. Or here, I'll track two then. There, location. All right, so then when I play through from the beginning here, oops, I broke something. Oh, so with the console log feature, when I'm listing.
Yeah, it just takes one expression. Yeah, sorry, that's my bad.
Okay.
Think of it as a print command print to the console.
Okay. So I need to rerun it now. Okay. So it's tracking that the beginning set for brash is 50 down here, right? Okay. And then I pick the first option. Okay, I see. And then if I wanted to print out if I put it down there again, it would then come up with the next quantity for brash, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so if I just rerun this. All right, so there's the initial value. And then it tells me again what the value is there, and on the line on which it changed. Or no, that's the line on which it printed. Okay.
Yeah, so it's just I mean, maybe other people don't do it as much, but I certainly like to print out. So if you're trying to concatenate a string or set a variable to a certain value, you'll try and print the variable in your text. So it just keeps your game clean, so you haven't got random trues and falses appearing. They go straight to the console instead. The only thing you have to be aware of is that console log isn't a valid CS command, so you have to get rid of them before you export your game.
Okay, another thing I could see using this for is like when I'm doing complex character interactions, to be able to track throughout how the relationship is changing and how I want to key my if statements at any given point to make sure that they accurately reflect what a player would be reaching at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So you could actually put your if expression in your log command and get the result out of it to correct. Yeah, that'd be a very good use actually. Yeah, and that's really all the console has to show. I think.
I would like to say, for the ones that are more timid and don't want to get into the console right away, you don't have to. That little up in the right-hand corner on the right side, that start stepping. I'm a very poor coder, and I get without throwing an error many times. So I just use that start stepping, and it walks you step by step through what it's doing after your choices, and it makes it a lot easier to find that you created yourself.
So here I'm using the step through, and I hit step, and it goes, you can see it jumping down here, line by line, because there's code working, it's setting, and actually if we put, what was the command for track all again? Is it just track all?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. There we go. Anyway, so you can see here on the console, what's changing as I step through. There's a convenient little arrow to tell you where in your code you are. And as you step through, right, and then you see the text. So here we are on the actual first page of the game. There goes the line break, paragraph, another paragraph, another paragraph, choice, and it's all of the changes are getting logged here. So as I step through, you can see card skill changing. This really, really helped me when I was working on Fantasy Foods because I have a really long, complex loop where you pick your age and jobs, and I got carried away, and I think there's about 40 different routes you can take in that section, and it loops back around on a timer. And I was having a terrible time debugging it because I wasn't sure what was breaking what since it looped. And I managed to use the console to figure out exactly the point at which it was breaking, which then allowed me to get into the code and figure out where the problem is. This can also be helpful when you have a error message that comes up and you look at the line number and it doesn't seem to actually have an error on it, and you're not exactly sure where you went to that to get the error that you're getting. So with the console, if you make the same, if you get to the same point in the game, it'll freeze when the code breaks, and you can sort of backtrack that way, which is how I solve the problem with Fantasy Foods.
Yeah, same with me. First time I used this when I had an infinite loop I created and couldn't figure out what was going on, and that walked me through, and I found the problem fairly easy with it.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it so much easier to figure out, like, okay, I know I broke something in this 6,000 lines of code, but I'm not sure what. So yeah, the console can help a lot with that, the step-through function. It also helped me when I first started using the step-through, which was a while ago, to figure out, like, because I wasn't a natural programmer, it's almost like it didn't occur to me that everything is, and this is going to sound completely idiotic, but you know, for the sake of science, it didn't really ever occur to me that these things were happening in sort of chronological order. It's not like you just throw everything in and mix it up like a cake. So when I used the step through function, it was really easy for me to picture in my mind, as you see there, how it's going back down the row, like, okay, as I do this, everything is changing consecutively. My paragraphs are coming up. My if statements are progressively, you know, and it was also easier for me to visualize how if statements, especially if nested if statements, were actually affecting my game. Because before that, it just all seemed a bit mysterious. And like, I knew what to do, but it was harder for me to visualize from code to the final result I wanted. So the step through really helped with that.
Okay, we kind of overshot a bit. Do you want to move on to the workshop?
Yeah, I'll just quickly show the pop out as well.
Yes, oh, that's useful, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so does the pop out actually show, or am I going to have to switch?
It's not going to show, is it?
Okay, or I can describe it as well, but the pop out function here pops out a window that I'm just fascinated right now because it's coming up at a different point that I was expecting to. But anyway, if I run the game fresh, and I hit the pop-out window, what I'm looking at right now is an exact copy of this, but that I can then play that in the pop-out window and experiment and move along. And this window will stay the same. And then when I next use pop-out, which, there we go, it will begin at the same place from here. So if I have a section with multiple choices and I want to see how they each look on the next page, if I hit pop out, I get an exact copy of this page. And then I can try the options one at a time and see if the text works out okay, if the variables work the way I expect. And it makes it a lot easier to check a series of choices without having to either go back. Once upon a time, you'd have to go back and really start the section over. Now you can use the console as well, but pop out is a really quick way to do that. Anything else about pop out?
No, yeah, so just in a nutshell, it allows you to try every single choice. Much like the kind of rewind function people are always requesting, you can kind of go back to your main window and create another pop-out and then try each question in turn, each answer, which is great for bug testing, of course.
Yeah.
No, that's it really, I think. I think we've done a good job there for covering the main points.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and clear the console. Do I just hit clear or is it clear all?
It's clear.
Clear, so that makes it all tidy again. I'm gonna close this down. Goodbye, long, complicated project. So here we have a very fresh new project, which I had just started. And for me, the beginning of a project is always the most nerve-wracking because you don't do that very often. So here we have the title that I had entered in, which conveniently becomes the title of your project folder as well. So when I hover here, you can see that it's automatically put all these files in my designated location in a folder with the name of the game on it. I tend to only use startup for my code because it was less confusing to me later. These files are just notes that I had put here for later. I often actually use a notebook, but I didn't so that everyone could see what I'm looking at. So I brainstormed what to do for this short little game demo, which we'll see how far we get in about 30 minutes. But I just wanted to do a really simple locked room puzzle where you play a spy who is trying to break someone out of a locked room. So I have here on my notes the stats that I came up with, and I am going to create them in startup by lazily pasting them and then changing all of the, actually this would be a great place to use multiple cursor function.
Yeah, so what Mouse is going to do now is just, we meant to give her an hour. It's going to be more like 40 minutes. She's just going to try and show how quick and easy it is to get a bare bones project off the ground using some of the IDE's functionality to assist her in that.
So right now I'm just creating a bunch of variables, which I will now put the correct first letter on. It's not generally a good idea to use capitals with variables because ChoiceScript is case sensitive. Sometimes anyway.
I don't, no, it's not case sensitive. It's meant to lowercase everything, I think.
Variables, I thought that that would be two separate variables. Is that not true?
No, in ChoiceScript, I believe everything is forced to lowercase. Therefore, it's just good practice to make them lowercase. JavaScript itself is
okay.
It may be a carryover from the old days when I think there's a lot that's changed in ChoiceScript since the old days.
Okay.
It's good practice to make them lowercase anyway.
Like,
yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And to assume that it's not case sensitive and you can't have two same variables.
So I'm now going to break it. Suppose I did this because I thought they were two separate variables. And yeah, we'd see here where I'd printed them both out that they are not in fact two separate variables. They're the same variable. Fascinated that didn't throw me up an error message since I created the same variable twice. So this is why this is not a good idea. Capitals and variables do not mix. That to say, that's just not within the variable name. If I want to use shouting loud stat names, I can do that. But that's a variable value. That's not the variable itself. Anyway. Right.
So this is a puzzle game. The objective is to, you've got, is it one NPC, prisoner in a room?
Yeah, see, there's other people in the background, but they're not relevant necessarily. Unless they find you and shoot you, then they're relevant.
You have to gain the trust of, or well, I assume that's one of the options, and somehow manage to break them out of the room without getting caught, and make your way for freedom.
Now, I don't know if there's an easier way to capitalize variables in the stat chart, but I've always just done it like this. Which I could be typing anything I want here.
I think that's about the only way I've ever seen it.
Okay. I'm keeping
Of course, I'm not fluent on the latest commands.
Yeah, it's worth noting that that CSIDE does update with the most recent copy of ChoiceScript, so it's not as if you're coding in an older version of ChoiceScript and then you end up running into trouble or not being able to use new features. Right. Let's see auto indent in action here. all its glorious wonderfulness. I need to put a, this will probably break again. That'll be good. Can I use variables in these?
What, sorry?
Oh, can I use variables in the like descriptions of the stats? Will that work?
I think so.
Okay, that's the wonderful thing about the IDE. I can use CSIDE and find out instantly.
Give it a run and see.
Yeah, exactly. Oop, there's an issue. Yes, this line should, so this is what I love. This is wonderful. See, so I haven't made a stat chart in months and months and months since the beginning of May.
Yeah.
I
I
guess
thought you were missing something there, but
yeah, exactly. I was like, feel free to interrupt too. But yeah, so it'll tell me, I left it after I realized it so I could demonstrate this. It'll tell me,
that's why I didn't say anything.
Yeah, this line should start with percent text or opposed pair. So I'm going to make these percent. I've copied that and then, oops, didn't quite work. Rewind some of these, but I'm going to make this one an opposed pair just for variety. If I recall, I always forget how to do the renaming of the opposed pairs. Something like this, maybe. We'll see if it works. Oh, no, it's broken again. How did I break it this time? Forgot to remove it. So here I didn't take these out, which I was using to just copy and paste my stats up there. And so it tells me you can't create, you can only create in startup. So I can just delete those. As a name variable would be helpful. Name, surname, which we will then need to create. Right, so this is all the very basic building blocks that one runs into when doing a story. So you see this line is still highlighted because it had a mistake before. I can either dismiss it manually through these with the little check marks, or I can hit dismiss all, which is a function I find I use more often than I'd like to admit. And
I don't know.
Yeah. And now the stats screen looks okay. It's a bit crowded. Let's see if I can uncrowd it a little bit. Maybe we'll start with the time too, just to give us something to look at. Now, Lord Irish actually has a really fancy timer, which is up on the forums, but I'm not going to use that right now. I'm just going to.
Yeah, it'd be too time consuming to set up in this little format.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just going to add. If I do it as an integer, I should be able to add to it manually, right? Like if I had this and I just, will it handle numbers out over 100? Like if I just, okay. So yeah, if I just have, because I didn't run it. I always forget to run things and then nothing works right because I'm trying to test an older version of the game. Yeah, perfect. So it's just not going to look pretty for now, but that's okay. That's the working version. That's another thing I love about CSIDE. I feel like I've become much more daring because if I do break something, it's very easy to just fix it. It tells me immediately like, oh, this is what you broke. This is what you can do. So here I have my terrible sloppy notes. Here we have that. Vendetta wrote up a little inventory for me earlier so that I would not have to type it all up manually. So I will add that to the stats screen. Thank you very much, Vendetta. Right. And I'm going to copy paste this and actually create all the items that I just told the game we have because it's not going to like it if I try to use variables that don't exist. That way. So this variable is for your lockpick, which is a keycard lockpick because I had.
Sorry to interrupt, but you could use the find replace to replace the if with create.
That's true. What's the key command for find replace in this? Do I start with find?
How much are you replacing?
Just these ifs right here.
Okay.
Great.
According to the help docs, which I actually needed to check, shame on me. On Windows, replace all is Shift Control R.
Yes.
Control R. Well, I'm on Mac, so that'd be Command Control R, or Command Shift R. Sorry.
Shift Command Option F.
Shift Command. Wait, what?
Option F. Alt.
Okay, Shift Command Option Alt. Okay, and then replace all. What's the syntax for this?
So if type if.
Mm-hmm.
And then hit enter.
Okay.
With
okay.
And then create.
Oh, how fun! I don't generally use.
Oh, I use it quite a bit.
Okay, yeah. See, as an editor, I always tell my authors never ever to use it with code. So I didn't know you could. But in a scene like this, where you're sure you're not breaking something else by accident, it's ideal. Perfect. Thank you, Irish. Okay. All right. Oops. That behaved oddly. Oh. Oh, that's exactly why I tell authors not to do that. It ate the word uniform because it had if in it and put gobbledygook in the middle.
Well, that's why I usually define it better. I go asterisk if, and then I'll put in, replace it with asterisk.
Yes, that would have worked. Yes.
Yeah, you do have to define more of what you're going to replace, but it's a wonderful tool.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Okay. All right, so there's my inventory, electric lockpick. If I want to break this up a bit, can I use line here? And I love how easy the run function makes it to just check things. You know, there's no complicated so I can look at this and just say, that doesn't quite look right. I'll replace it with one line break and run it again. And then it looks pretty. One thing I did tend to do when I first started using ChoiceScript, I mean the IDE, and which I still do sometimes, is forget to hit run before I check stuff and then wonder why it's not working. So anyway, all right. So this is all going to be very simple, very basic, mocked up, not pretty text because we're just making an outline. So I'm going to add a few scenes. This first scene is going to be the corridor, right? Forgive my silly text. You are a spy. What is your name? I found some appropriate spy-ish names. I will just copy and paste. Should have done the go-tos while I was at that.
You're very organized. I'm impressed. This is probably why I've never managed to finish a game.
Yeah.
If I can't manage to seem vaguely impressive for like 45 minutes. All right. These are all spy names from various. So I just made this a fake choice because all I'm doing is setting stats. Now I'm going to be a terrible person and do this. I find with labels, I often use at least 2 words and sometimes 3 because in a large scene, I often find I have quite a lot of labels. With Beasties, I've taken to trying to keep scenes down to like 1,000 to 2,000 lines because I've discovered 6,000 line scenes for people like me that are mostly writers can make things more complicated than they need to be.
So we made the decision to color label and go to in a different color throughout the app. This was because what we call flow control commands, or whatever fancy name you want for, basically means that at some point you're either going to jump to or from those lines, or it's going to change your scene or something like that. And we thought the distinction helped quite a lot in following the flow through very quickly of a ChoiceScript game.
So I just put in, I made a little loop here where the first time you go through, it doesn't take you seriously. So what I'm actually going to need to do here is put in a bunch of ifs. If code name, go to surname time, else, go to no. Which I could have done a lot more neatly. I see why I did it that way. La la la. This is why I love being able to experiment and not feel like I'm breaking anything. It's just, for me, very much less intimidating to have all the results right here where I can see them and all the files right here where I can see them. And then when I do break things, which is more frequently than I necessarily want to admit all the time, it's easy to fix them again. And then I'm all ready to break something new.
So how many scenes is this game going to be?
Right now, something like 4 or 5, just to get the outline going. We won't get far, but that's all right. I'll set those up once I've got the name in.
Kind of watching you funny working this because I keep wanting to move my mouse and because I love working CSIDE. Like I want to click it.
Okay, so in order to make all this stuff show up, I need to go to startup and make a scene list.
I know what we didn't demonstrate. It's nothing spectacular, but you can actually drag and drop scenes between projects and either copy or move them.
Oh yeah.
Which can be very useful. So if you've got 2 versions of a project or you have notes, stuff like that, you can, yeah, you can just demonstrate it. It's just a nice, quick and easy way to do a bit of text file manipulation without coming out of the app again.
Yeah, I do love that you can control files through the actual app and not have to muddle about.
You can delete individual scenes minus ChoiceScript and startup.txt. We don't allow you to delete projects from within the app, seeing as a project is essentially a folder. That could be quite dangerous behavior if we allowed it from within the app. So if you want to delete a project, you will need to do that from outside of the IDE.
All right, so here's our first actual page. See if it works properly.
Yay!
Oh, it broke. Because I wrote new.
Did you find an image?
I didn't know. I can probably grab something simple. Actually, I could make something really simple.
Something I've wanted to do for a long time is make the ChoiceScript compiler work with images. I know that's been quite a pain for a lot of people, myself included, that it doesn't support images at the moment unless you package them with the file, and that's a pain in itself. It takes out the advantage of it being compiled. So what we've managed to do in the IDE is include an import feature for images, and through magic, we'll say it converts the image into what we call an image scene, which is just another scene in your game that you never need to open. But every time you want to display that image, you can just go sub to that scene, and it will then print the image and return. And if you compile that project, that scene will be included as the code. Demonstrate it now. Great. Oh, you've got some strange dots and stuff in there. That might not work. Let's see.
You think that might mess up the file name?
We can try.
Yep.
See, I'm confused on that, to be honest, because I've never had any problems compiling pictures.
It's if I recall correctly, the issue is if you compile your game, but it has images, the images will not work in the compiled HTML file. If you're giving someone access to your game through the entire folder, that works. But for people like me who were hosting in a situation where we had to use the compiled HTML folder or file and not our full folder, that does not work. Is that correct, Carrie?
Yeah, so if you ship the images with the compiled file,
Okay.
you can make it work, I believe.
Okay, I've always just sent the whole thing, so I've
it's missing.
never noticed
Yeah,
a problem.
it's but the advantage of having a compiled file is that you can distribute it on its own. I mean, you can zip them up. So the advantage here is that if we can, it might be a little difficult to do. If we go to, oh no, you can't see it because it's a separate window. But if you went into the by story folder, you would actually find a file called side image underscore screen underscore shot, etc. .text, which actually contains.
I guess the disadvantage of having my own hosting, I can just throw everything up there and never notice a problem.
Yeah. And that file actually contains the data needed to display that image in game, and so that will be included successfully when you compile the game.
Yeah, and it
goes
size.
It does make images about 33% bigger, so do keep that in mind if you're trying to compile big images, and don't CSIDE will ignore side images when you try and open all scenes and stuff like that, because you should never need to edit them. I mean, by all means, feel free to change the name, but don't open them inside, because it's just a lot of mumbo jumbo text that won't make any sense. And if you edit it, you'll damage the image.
Yeah, it'll basically break, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but there's the screen. Yeah, there's the screenshot here then that I made that is now located as a text file image at that location in my project folder. And all I have to do is copy paste the code, and now I have the image. There's my.
And that can be reused throughout the game as well.
Yeah, and yeah, and it's super easy to import the images. That's the other thing I love. What's the file limit on images right now?
Did we get around to deciding on one? I'll have a check.
And it automatically centers the image I'm seeing.
No, I don't think we have a hard-coded size limit at the moment, but I think the same goes with any old ChoiceScript game. You want to keep it under 256 kilobytes, really, quarter of a megabyte.
So I'm commenting this out for now so that I can mess about with other stuff.
I love the creative title. I just saw images. I didn't actually realize what the text was. That's what happens. You just see code all the time. You just see functionality. You lose all creative soul.
Well, that's not true. So in this game that I'm running up, there's 3 rooms. And I'm going to actually do it this way. I'm going to have room 3 cards.
So that's why we've actually got mouse at the helm here. Although I programmed the app, I haven't actually spent a lot of time using it, ironically.
That's actually really funny.
Yeah, Lord Irish, Mouse, Vendetta, Phantom, Shockbolt. I'm sure Nocturnal Stillness have done a cracking job of actually using the app day to day and reporting back on any issues they found from an author's perspective rather than a programmer's perspective. They've been a great help, and we're looking forward to getting it out to everyone else on the forums as well. We think we'll get a lot of suggestions to further improve the app through that. That is a chilling description.
It's a spy story.
this yeah, not a psychological thriller. I'm gonna have nightmares. There are 3 rooms in this cheerful white bed covered. Sorry, I'll stop back to offering.
Oh, so teddy bear's going to save us?
So because I have got such a tendency to forget what I'm doing, I'm also going to label which of these is on what side. That's another thing. Like, I love that I can see my scene names because I can be really pathetic about forgetting what I'm doing. So, and some of you know, I have 2 very small children, and so it's very nice to have things in such a way so that when I come back, I can actually pretend like I remember what was going on 20 minutes ago. So there. Now we know.
Learn your skills there, because I'll tell you what, my lists are a mess. I'm usually guessing what I've got.
I'm not good at guessing games. I'm really rubbish at games. All right, so there's Tenny music playing from the room on the left. Far away, you can hear. I will fix this, or I'm going to be tempted to be horrible the whole time.
Yeah, I was saying to Jim in the chat, for anyone who missed it, we are looking at distributing release candidates. So that basically means we think it's fully featured, we think it's stable, unless...
No, what it is we finally convinced him that it was ready to go. I think it's been ready to release for a long time.
Yeah, it means that they finally told me that it needs to stop gathering dust and start getting use. No, it means that it's stable as far as, you know, 6 of us have managed to surmise. I mean, Mouse and Irish have been using it for years now, at least a year.
I've been using it steadily for 2, and I tell you, I used it about 10 hours every day from about 2 in the afternoon to 2 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
12 hours, and lost my ability to count during the month of May.
But of course,
thanks
me
to
being
Irish.
the boring logical type, you have to consider that there are a lot of different computer setups and individuals out there who will use the app in different ways. So there may or may not be a few teething issues.
That's something we should touch on. This program's usable on Windows, Mac. I've used it on 10 different laptops. It's a very friendly program to download and set up on the computer.
Okay, well, that's good. Yeah, so we're hoping to get it out to you before or in the first week of October, if all goes well. I won't put an exact date on it, but and that should be a Mac OS X app and a Windows app that should work on, I'm going to say, Windows 7 and above, for sure. Definitely Windows 10 and Windows 8 shouldn't have a problem. I'm sure I'll remember. There's something I should have said that I didn't. So yeah, I mean, it's come a long way. If you guys have seen the various UI iterations we've gone through, haven't you?
Yeah.
Just believe me, viewers, the app has looked a lot worse than it does today. I'll have to dig
Well,
out
even
some
in its early stages, before you even had a name for it, it was still a useful program. It's just
yeah.
over the years you've really honed it down to where it's just incredibly useful for anybody to pick up. And I'm a very poor coder, and even with this tool, I still screw up. But it saves my butt so many times. It's amazing what it does.
I'm really glad. It makes it all worth it.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't be able to done some of the stuff I've done without it. And anytime someone needs help, first thing I open and drop their program in there, see what kind of problems are.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, that's how it started originally. It was an online ChoiceScript tester, if anyone remembers that. That's where the idea stemmed from. So we've kept that core philosophy. We've wanted it to be really simple, so you can pretty much just open the app, click new project, type a name in, and paste your code and run it within seconds. So when people are posting code on the forums and stuff like that, it's still a nice, easy testing tool.
Absolutely.
I'd like to think we've achieved that.
Oh, by leaps and bounds. It carries a little, shall we say, word powder of his program than he is sometimes.
Or more willing to be vocal about how amazing we think it is. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Mouse, you have set PP twice in each of them.
I did. That's because one of them should. This is the code that I usually use, but I usually use it in front of MC, so it's less confusing. There. Okay. Yeah, that's correct now. All right.
There's a very interesting couple of posts on the forum thread about your.
I'm going to focus on this so I can actually get something done with my last 10 minutes. How's that?
Yeah, no, that's fine. You can check it out later.
Now, if I recall, there's actually a shorthand for variable, isn't it? Is it Command V? No.
Command D, I believe.
Command D. Yeah. So I always forget about it, but it's possible to do Command D and then just type your variable name in and save oneself time.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. We haven't showed those. If you highlight a text selection and press Control or Command, depending on your app, you can wrap it in bold or italic tags or variable notation just by clicking that one key combo and also untagging it.
Alex, and you'll notice it actually does it by paragraph because otherwise it would break. And you can actually do that around coded paragraphs as well. So if I did this, oops, wrong button. Lo and behold, it magically,
Yeah, it'll ignore code and option lines, because obviously that would break. You've created PP twice in another file.
Oh, thank you. But you're not going to wait for me to just break everything inside.
No, I've left a few things for you.
Oh, great.
It's like a demolition derby, you know. If there's no crashes, why did you go?
Can I quote you on that when my books are published?
Fatal error.
It's a good title, actually. There you go.
Is that your new forum handle? Our beta tester extraordinaire here is actually very infamous at in our beta testing crew. She manages to find bugs that only she experiences and only she can reproduce on a near weekly basis. There's still a backlog of about 5 of them that I'm trying to track down.
Yeah, that sounds terrible, right? You sound like I'm making it up.
Very minor. Well, you know, the implication is there, I guess. I'm sure you're not.
Thanks a lot.
you just put the app through its paces and get into situations that most authors wouldn't get into. Which is only a good thing.
I'll let that one go.
It's been really fun. I'm kind of just excited to see what people can make with these.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's in the hands of everyday writers, you know, we're going to see a big boost in creativity and progress. I mean, I've probably got 2 more years on my project, but I wouldn't be able to handle the project I'm working on without this.
Which one is that?
That's North, the RPG game.
North, right? Yes. Ravens.
Yeah, Raven's Loft. It's gone through a few name changes, but yeah, it's an RPG fantasy. It's when I first tried it, of course, being a newbie, I just jumped right in with the biggest project I could. But and I gave up on it. But then lo and behold, here comes Carrie with this, and I'm actually have the opening done for the first part of the game. So, and I wouldn't have done it without this.
That's there you go. It's a success already. I'm really glad, and I hope that's the case with a lot of people. I mean, even myself, I've given up on so many ideas.
Terminal.
Yeah, I wouldn't say given up. I mean, the CSIDE kind of stemmed from a lot of frustration with with some basic stuff, and
well, I'm such a poor coder. It's such a challenge, and then being dyslexic on top of it, this program just makes it so much easier. And of course, we have a great forum group, so they put up with a lot of my poor stuff.
No, I'm looking forward to release. There's a lot of whips that I hope will benefit from this. And yeah, I guess my dream one day is to after the influx of bug fixes, maybe I'll be able to write my game in CSIDE too.
Well, I think out of the old guard, you and I are the only 2 that haven't published.
That's not an achievement.
Well, we've helped out the community in a lot of different ways, so I'm not real upset about it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
We'll get there one day.
This guy say. Initially, the idea fell through, but I have been very busy with this app in recent years.
Well, it's quite an accomplishment because you're going to college too, or university, whatever it is.
University, across the pond.
Here it's college.
How British do I sound?
You've got a very strong British accent.
I thought so.
But it's very pleasant. Very pleasant.
Thank you. You guys too. I don't actually have a cup of tea on me. I don't feel very British at the moment.
I don't have a coffee, so I don't feel very American. Well, you're fast. If I could write as fast as you could, Mouse, I'd be already done. I think I overthink things. I always want to add way too much, and then I figure out it's not going to work, and then have to go back and remove it.
Well, I do that too. Yeah. These could have been a lot longer, and I kept realizing I need to not keep doing this. I need to actually finish a chapter and move on to the next one, and not, scope creep. I feel like scope creep is the big danger of.
You've done really well actually, keeping the narrative trim as well. Which for you is a very big accomplishment.
We have all the compliments today, don't we?
Only because we
Actually, I'm working on. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm good.
Actually, I put aside my big game because take a break from it. I'm working on a smaller game, which I'm hoping to put out by the end of the year. So, but it's all due to CSIDE.
All I will say, Mouse, is that it's not just us.
Okay, so
Fred afterwards.
So don't tell me. So here I have a bit of code. I'm going to try running it and see how many things I break. Oh, an issue. That's because I put that in because I was playing around. I'll take it out now. I'm running this again. All right, there's my name. Oh, look, I broke it. It doesn't go where it's supposed to go. So since CSIDE very easily, this is why I don't spend as long finding bugs as I used to. It's because I'm not actually sure why that broke. What did I do? Theoretically, this. Oh, I broke it later. That's why.
See, if this was me demoing this, I think I would be writing a line, deleting it, writing it, redelete. I probably would have got 10 lines by now.
I'm not.
I might do a few more lines.
Hire me.
I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to prose.
Let's see if this works. Okay, we're Spy. We're named Perry because I like Perry the Platypus. Okay, so there we go. Now it asks us again. Now it's doing what it's supposed to. Yes, what's your code name? That was my code name, obviously, which will actually set name Perry, or it's supposed to. Now what did I do? I typed something wrong. Oh, I commented it out. That would definitely break it. This is my everyday process. For anyone who's wondering, is Mouse a ditz all the time? Yes, she is. 120,000 words of ditz during the month of May. All right, so now I can actually use the console to make sure that it did set the name. And it didn't, which means that I forgot. This would be the one that I forgot. Ha ha ha.
Oh, so nice.
Yep. Okay, now I can check again and see. Yes. Yes, the stat screen is working. All right.
Oh, it's going to save me so much work because I actually wrote a section to test each part, but now that I know how to do the console, I can erase all that. And I don't have to worry about it. Just use the console. That is so nice.
Yep.
This is really coming together.
In my 30 seconds that I have left, maybe we'll get somewhere.
Well, actually, a minute over by my time.
Oh, sorry.
But,
I'll wrap it up in a second here.
No apologies. I've nothing to do. I'm happy to stay on. It's down to you and the viewers.
Yeah, see what the viewers think. I don't mind actually running through the subscenes. I can put 2 or 3 lines in each.
I think people will trail off when they've had enough.
When they're done with us.
There's still nearly 2 hands full of people.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm not seeing any of the action because I've got to start this. So. So what I would do if I was actually writing this is eventually program in a timer. I find that CSIDE really helps me to to be willing to add code in layers, because I can get the basics down, and then if I add more on top of it, like I'm not afraid to break what's already there, because it's very easy to both to find out what I broke and to fix it again, which, like I said, is a daily process with me. So
Really like is I have a big project going on. I'll start a new project, make my little code that I want to test out, and if it works, then I can just move it up and drop it right into the main project.
yes.
That way I'm not breaking my main game.
The general verdict is to keep going.
All
Just have
right.
a tub of popcorn left, and it's very interesting to see in action.
Power code.
I think you're doing a really good job. It is interesting.
Oh, awesome job.
As you say, it couldn't have been me. We would have got a scene done tops. And only then if I'd wrote it before.
I would have had a lot, but it'd been all if commands and sub commands, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I can make it more complex.
Yeah, the end is near. You throw your key card on the floor.
I think I've got like my CSIDE stuff. I could put it all together and put an ending to them. I have something.
Yeah, it is great. I know a lot of the time when I want to start a new project, I would re-download the master file, and that might be an old copy of CS. And I dump it in a random folder and forget to rename it. So I have like 7 ChoiceScript masters in my downloads folder. I mean, that's a problem with my organization, of course, but with CSIDE, I can just load it up, create a project, and I don't have to remember about downloading the latest version of ChoiceScript or worrying about folder structure. It kind of does it all for me. Yeah, that's probably the thing I find most useful about it, actually. Just the ability to just get up and running without thinking about it too much.
Okay, I'm going to briefly interrupt. I'm running random test. I'm getting quick test failed. ChoiceScript stats, line 22, invalid expression, couldn't extract another token, broken electronic lockpick. So this is somehow broken, this inventory system. Ever since I set the, ever since we figured out the lockpick is broken. So all right, that should break it. Yes. For some reason, it doesn't like setting the inventory. What if I just do this? Oh, I think this is why. Okay. Maybe this will fix it. I will now dismiss the issue so that I can break it again in new and glorious ways. Invalid expression line 23 couldn't extract another token, broken electronic lock pick. Okay. Don't know why that's not working.
Inventory.
Hmm?
I'm just trying to figure it out in my head, but it's one of those things that I can play with it, figure it out.
Oh, it's because it's actually my fault. It's because it had, I think it was the indentation. Because I got it set to 2, and I copied that, and that was on 4. It still doesn't like that. Why doesn't it like that? Invalid expression line 21.
Oh, sorry, I pressed the mute button on my mic. I wonder why. Yeah, around broken electric lockpick, it looks like there's smart quote.
Oh, curly quotes. That's awkward. Bad.
Sorry, I was trying to tell you for about 2 minutes, but I had my I knocked.
Oh,
knocked
well,
the
you
mute
just
button.
use your find replace for smart quotes. It works real quick.
That's true. If I can remember all the keys to push. Theoretically, that fixed it. Yeah, I broke somewhere else. Yay, corridor 130, bad label. Ah, because I don't have returns here yet. Use. Theoretically, I've just coded the first possible ending of the game. So as soon as I'm done unbreaking it, we'll see if it works.
Does that work now? The was it smart quotes?
Yes, which is really interesting. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but anyway.
Google Drive, apparently.
That's right. Blame it all on Google. That's what everyone does anyway. All right. Ooh. Error, the image doesn't exist. That's strange.
Which image?
The CSIDE image screenshot. It says that the image doesn't exist anymore.
Which one was that?
This here. It says it has vanished when I ran quick test.
Yeah, the quick test will probably it's because of the quick test will check for. I mean, quick test doesn't know that we do image scenes.
So then it thinks that the image scene is broken, essentially.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this fixes.
I'm looking into that.
Okay. So we're running the game. I can theoretically end the game from now. We'll see how it goes. Okay. We'll be James this time. Obviously, we're not idiots. It's a person in the cell. We're going to use our key card. The prisoner is yelling at us. Ooh, I used the wrong pronoun there. I'll have to fix that.
You're working on the fly. I'm not too worried about pronouns.
I have to prove to people that I really can edit. Let's see where I made the mistake. Yeah, I made it here. There we go. Well, better. Be better next time anyway. And we'll eventually have to fix pronoun agreement with they. Should have just used a Z. Anyway, Linnea actually, for those of you who do use they pronouns, has a really good algorithm for fixing this problem, which includes using, you create an S variable and you can either set it to nothing or set it to S, and then with things like here with they growl, all you have to do is at the end of the verb, it goes with the person who could possibly be using plural, I mean singular, singular they. You just use, where is it? Excuse me. You just use that and it will work properly. You obviously have to watch irregular verbs, but you know, one watches irregular verbs anyway.
I think this is going to really change C comp next. Wow.
Oh my God, I can't work on it advanced. That's a big time.
In scoring in that.
Yeah. It made a huge difference, I think, especially because I didn't have programming experience, just to have somewhere sort of comfortable to learn that's not just some program I've never used with sheets of files.
The judges, they can look at the game code as they play.
Yeah, that would be really great.
That's cool.
And
yeah, I didn't think of that.
jump to sections that they've done before that they want to review without having to flip through the whole game, especially if there's loads of games. Okay, so here we are. The lockpick isn't working. The prisoner's very irritated. Something's wrong. We're done. We didn't want to be a spy. The prisoner yells. The prisoner yells louder. You get shot. The end. Yay.
I love it. Bravo.
And eventually what I would do is add, this door is locked too. Add ways to get into these rooms. This is the prisoner. So then, if I wanted to just test that choice again, I can actually use the console.
So,
and then,
sorry, no.
Right, and eventually I would add more and more and more and more and more stuff. But yeah, I mean, so there we are in what, like not quite an hour since we started a bit late. We have a basic outline of a working game with multiple scenes and sub-scenes and even an image that is usable and can be commented out when not actually using it. Will that suit?
Yeah, I think that's
An awesome job, Mouse. It was really awesome.
My pleasure. I'm really excited that I get to demonstrate CSIDE for everyone, actually, because CSIDE is amazing, and I will sell it with all my worth to anyone who is interested in interactive fiction. It's such a good tool, and it's just really reassuring, especially if you're new to coding. Like, here's something that wants to help me code. I'm not alone anymore. CSIDE is my pal.
Yeah, so you were saying before, I think that's an interesting what maybe not so much me. I mean, I've certainly wanted to keep to it, but what Fiogan, Lord Irish, Vendetta, and the rest of the guys have managed to do is keep me in check, make sure that it's built for the average CS author, not CS programmers. So don't get scared off by features like the CS console or the issues tab or anything you don't want to get into straight away. I think the idea is that first and foremost, it's just a simple, very intuitive app that you just can get stuck into ChoiceScript with. And as Fiona said, it kind of holds your hand. It'll show you exactly where the errors are. It won't let you do anything bad like change a variable that doesn't exist or anything like that. Am I missing anything? Is that a good way to hold hand holding? Like the stabilizers on a bicycle, maybe. Oh my God, a bit too.
Thank you. Covered it.
It's like, exactly. It's like ice cream on a hot day. It's like the sunshine when the clouds have moved aside.
It's the
No, but
beach.
seriously, it's one thing I do love about CSIDE is it's flexible. Like now I've been coding for 2 years. I've done all kinds of scope creepy things. I'll never be one of the truly complex ChoiceScript coders, but like I can, when I first used it, I wrote something really simple. I didn't even know what a Go subscene would be. I just didn't have any even real desire to make something more complicated. And then I'm actually opening this to show you. This is my, if I hit escape and make the code window full screen, will it drop?
Try it. I don't think so.
Did it drop?
Nope.
Okay, so that's another wonderful thing. I'm just pressing the escape key. Poof, there's my code window.
No distractions, just code.
Yeah. So as you can see, this is an extremely long scene. Scrolling through it, hope I'm not giving anyone vertigo. This was before I made the rule that I wouldn't do too much more than 1,000 or 2,000 lines in one scene. This is why I made that rule. But so anyway, here you can see one of the loops that I put into Fantasy Foods. When you tell your name, you can actually loop back. You can lie about your age, loop back to your age, decide if you're going to tell the truth or not, get into an argument with the narrator, go to a subscene. You see all this nesting. I'm sure there's nicer ways to do this, but this was my way a year ago. And then there's more loops and a timer and all kinds of redirects from the timer. And it's very indented. This is all 2 spaces. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 indent, 10. 9 or 10 indents, with if statements and variables and I don't think I would have tried this if I was just holding a pile of text files in whatever text editor I put up. But with CSIDE, when I broke it, I was able to, you can see it goes on and on and on. There. I just jumped 1,000 lines twice. Now I'm on line almost 5,000. But anyway, so I was able to make this scene and all those variables because I had the step through function and because I had the ability to feel safe and be able to experiment without being intimidated.
That is a behemoth of a file.
Coming from a programmer. Yeah, oh, I'm not even done.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, that one ended up being exactly 10,600 lines of code, which is why I decided that all files will be 1,000 to 2,000 lines after that.
Yeah, definitely.
But CSIDE allowed me to learn that lesson at my own pace.
Yes, good, no, great. Well, I love it. Sorry to bring it up, but when I first announced the console in the beta thread chat, you were not impressed.
I was terrified. Another thing for programmers that I don't even know what it means. Oh no.
And within your own time, so within 2 weeks, maybe?
Actually, the first time I had a chance to really try it out.
Yeah, and you came back and went, oh, this is wonderful.
It is wonderful.
And could you live without it now?
I could if I was on a desert island without internet. Then I would have to. And I would cry on my coconuts.
Could you code in CSIDE without it?
No, I mean, I used to have in Fantasy Foods and in Beastie Watch a ridiculous amount of coding just for beta testers. And every time you went anywhere, you'd have to set your character's name and all of the stats and, you know, like have a whole character creation scene because you want to start on chapter 5, and it was miserable. Mm-hmm. And the console completely removes the need for all of that.
Great. Okay, I think that about wraps it up. Do you guys have anything you want to add, or does anyone have any questions who's still watching? We hope you like what you've seen. We do aim to keep improving it after release, but we like to think we've made a good start and it's ready for public consumption. I feel like I should make some grand leaving speech, but no, I think it speaks for itself, and I think you've done a very good job of demonstrating it in use.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us. We're really grateful you came along for the ride, and
Yes,
hope
that's
that
it.
you'll share this video with other people and explain to them how wonderful CSIDE is. And when it comes out, we hope that you'll be able to download it and use it and share the joy.
And create lots of amazing whips and populate the game with more ChoiceScript games, because we all love ChoiceScript games.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks again, everyone. If you've got any questions you forgot to ask, you can comment on this video. This will be on YouTube, or you can post in the thread, and we hope to get it into your hands soon. Maybe next time, Tio. Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Fiona and Lord Irish, for helping me out with that. That was great.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.